Recording in progress.
Okay. I'm Naomi Miller, and I'm going to call this meeting of the Select Board to order at 6:30 on Monday, March 18th. First off does anybody here have any conflict of interest with anything on the agenda?
No.
Nope.
Minutes.
Can we add in, before we go to the minutes, the changes to the agenda?
I'm sorry, yes. So the changes to the agenda are, we are adding the treasurer's report. Pushy. We are, help me out here, David. I'm sorry.
Under the
Number 10.
DPW, we're adding the documents Mike signs for, or the board signs for the highway funds. It's an annual reports.
And we're postponing number 10, appointment of town officers.
Right.
And removing executive session.
We're removing executive session.
Yes.
Okay. And minutes.
Minutes, I was able to catch up with all the missing minutes today, so we'll have them for the next report because I couldn't circulate them, but I did find, for whatever reason, during the last few months, they didn't make the board, so we'll bring them all up on the next meeting.
Okay.
This is quite a little stack of them here.
Apparently they had been on the website, but they just didn't get to us.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
they were all
posted.
posted, but that's where I found them on the website.
I sent you.
And I got the executive meeting ones also, so we'll just bring that up the next time.
Perfect.
Because I couldn't get them to everybody this afternoon.
Okay. And we have warrants here. So this is, I'm going to try to do this right this time. This is check warrant number 36. Am I saying that?
That's right.
Yes, good. And I need a motion to,
It's for,
it's for how much? Thank you. $75,850.51.
so moved.
Second?
Moved by Tony, seconded by Mike. Okay. Items over $1,000 to A&K Agri-Services, $3,127.12.
That's material trucking.
To Aflac, $1,037.64. To Allied Auto Parts, $31.34.
There's a bolt for the backhoe.
A bolt.
One bolt.
To Appalachia Salt, we've got $2,865.52. To Blue Cross Blue Shield, we've got $10,762.19. Wow.
health insurance.
Health insurance.
It's an expensive one.
To the Sheriff's Department, $3,325. To Home Depot Credit Services, $29.95.
Small part from them.
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly what is it.
To Harron Schrader Enterprises,
Just
$1,125
fire department equipment.
and 73 cents. Okay, good. To KAS Inc., we've got $10,322.99.
That was for the fall landfill sampling. The water.
Okay. To Peckham, we've got $8,174.30.
It's just materials.
And to Peckham again, $4,518.24. To Tony Roan, $1,046.
That's the temporary bookkeeper service. Tony Rowe.
The VLCT, $19,254.25.
Yeah, that's part of our blanket insurance policy.
Wallingford crushed stone, 2,363.11. And Wilmington, Campbell, et cetera, $215.
Yeah, I think that was a DRB issue. No, I take that back. That was a PUC. It's just some things they were looking up, monitoring what's going on up there.
Okay. Any discussion on this?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 500. You know, we need to change Board of Selectmen to Select Board.
Oh, okay.
These things.
I didn't never realize it was
I
even
never
on there.
noticed it before. Sorry. Okay, while we're signing these things, are there any announcements?
I have several. I wanted to let everyone know that our public meeting on the adoption of the proposed enhanced energy plan will be March 27th at 6 p.m. And I believe that that is out and about at this point, correct? I'm going to tell you what, that's a Wednesday.
Isn't that the Planning Commission's?
That was a, yep, but just so that folks knew about that, that there is a public meeting on that, 6 p.m., and that is a Wednesday, March 27th. And also on the town website right now, the Shaftsbury Historical Society is bringing back their Shaftsbury Ordinary Heroes. It's been quite some time. I think 2017 was the last Shaftsbury Ordinary Hero, and I can't recall who that was at the moment, but it's definitely there. So if you have somebody that you feel is a Shaftsbury hero in Shaftsbury, the information is on the town website to nominate that person, or you can get a hold of anybody in the Shaftsbury Historical Society. Jim Cassidy is now the president of that board. So those were the two that I had.
Thank you. Anybody else? Announcements? Okay. Public comments? Yes, please do.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
David Durfee, Shaftsbury resident, state representative for Shaftsbury and Sunderland. And I don't have really a comment, I just wanted to say, to congratulate our newly elected and re-elected members of the board, and to just reiterate that if there are any issues that I can assist with that involve the state, you all, I think, know where to find me, and please don't hesitate to reach out.
So what committee is taking up the water?
That's the Government Operations
Oh, okay.
Committee, fittingly.
Okay.
Yes.
When is that hearing?
To be determined.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at our, whenever it's convenient for
Okay.
the parties involved. Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Possibly Tim Finney was the last ordinary hero.
Maybe. It's
Yeah.
been quite some time, so yes.
Yeah.
I'll have to check in with the Historical Society. on
That's all I
that.
had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay. So,
Leaving you out.
That's all right.
I'm getting dizzy here.
No, I'm trying to stay out of the camera.
Yeah.
He's trying to put me.
Keep saying, follow the director's orders,
I forgot to bring in my wide-angle camera. I have to
Gotcha.
do that.
and then there'll be no escape.
Then there'll be no hiding, Mike. Number 7, Oliver Wadsworth, on Cold Spring Road. And I see we have you here.
Hi.
Hi. So, I would like to suggest about this that it's something that we've talked about before. We really need to go out, at least a couple of us, and see it for ourselves in person. with the homeowners present. And I'm wondering if other people have thoughts about that and
Were you
how
thinking
would like to-
potentially a subcommittee? Because we've kind of already, I know, Ollie, you came several months ago to kind of create and tell us all about the issue, and I had a moment to actually go out and see it, and I think it's much clearer when you can kind of visualize and they see things, so I wonder if maybe two of us, so then it's not a quorum.
Yeah, I think
when-
the
with
proper way to
maybe
do it would be the two of you, interested parties, with Mike.
all together.
Yeah, and then the delegation from here can report back to the whole board, because you do really need to be there. You need to see this. I've looked at, you need to hear Mike's explanation, an explanation from any other interested party of what's going on. It's not something that can be worked out here. And we are all familiar with it, because we did discuss it in the fall. They did try some work up there, but it's very, very wet, even when they were doing it. I don't know how much further they can go, and that's why you need Mike there, and you need to see firsthand. I'm sure it's quite wet right now. It must be at this point, so
Yeah, it's,
I think you just go out and...
A fair amount of flooding.
Yeah, so if a delegation from the board, two people, so it's not a meeting, I'll coordinate with Mike and, any interested party or with Oliver, and we'll take it from there. And just see it. It's best to see firsthand. So, yeah.
okay. And
May I
Art.
recap what was said in November when we first went in front of
Sure.
the select board?
Please
Because I
do.
understand that Brad wasn't there, and so I just want to be, very clear about everything. So we inherited a culvert that came onto our front lawn from across Cold Spring Road. And it was containable until April 5th, 2022, when Shaftsbury, the town of Shaftsbury, lowered the culvert 2.5 feet. So that's just water coming onto our lawn. There's lots of flooding. At the same time, about a month or two later, they put in a second culvert running along Cold Spring on the north side to deposit the water into Cold Spring, which is only 20 yards away. That culvert is not efficient. It is taking maybe 10% of the water, and our culvert is taking about 90% of the water. And then what David nicely mentioned was that you all tried to do something about it in November. Mike Ionati did some digging between the two culverts, but I'm afraid to say that nothing has changed. It's still 90% water going onto our lawn and only 10% going across into what is Cold Spring. So that's the issue in a nutshell.
thank you. And I want to remind people that that we had agreed we were going to return to it in the spring,
Yes.
when it would be easier to see the flowing water and really see it in action, so to speak. So thank you for coming back, reminding us of this again, and here we are. It's almost spring.
I really appreciate it.
Oliver, can I just ask, do you have availability during daytime hours?
Yeah, I've got a lot before I start teaching at Huzek School. And then I'm on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays teaching. So it would be the other days. It would be great.
Tuesday,
The weekend would be
Thursday.
great.
Okay, just so we
Tuesday or
can work with something to set something up.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
That would be terrific. Thank you, David.
okay.
Maybe we'll shoot for next week.
Yeah. The committee from here will be?
I think I would like to be on it. Anybody want to join me?
I'm happy to join. I'd like to see it.
Okay, so I'll check with Mike. We'll see what day we can be available next week, and we'll set something up.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Art's got a question.
Oh,
Yes, all right.
I think I should be informed also.
yes, you'd like to be there?
Got to be.
Okay.
Okay. Good, thank you. Okay, anything else on
Nope.
this issue?
No, I think that should be good.
So we're moving on to number 8, appointments to committees and boards.
Wait, no, treasurer first.
Oh, God, treasurer. Sorry.
Someone even took your chair.
It was going to be last.
Right up at the beginning.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello, Brad. If we could look at the cash flow first, please. While you're finding that, I want to say that the grand list for tax preparers is on our website. So if you're doing your taxes and you find that you don't have the house site information, you can find it there. There's no non-public information posted, but just that what's up in the upper right box that you need for filing your HS 122 is now online. Maybe they'll cut down on the 20 calls a day I get about that. And maybe it won't. So here's the cash flow. I don't think we've ever looked at February when it was completed, so that's what we're looking at today. Let's see. A lot of this we've already looked at. That one, you see that water payment, that's obviously not in the right place, but that came from the state. That's one water customer's arrearage covered by one of these sort of COVID-era programs. So that just represents one person who got help through the state. You'll see at the bottom of that I transferred it to the proper place, but it's in the cash flow because the state only sends things right to our general fund. Nothing else of interest there. Oh yeah, the transfer happened in March, so that's why you're not seeing it. Okay, so that's our cash balance as of the end of February. Looking pretty good for this time of year. As I always say, this is when I start taking a close look because that cash needs to get us through the end of June at the very least. And as of July 1st, we might be able to get a line of credit if we need it. With what I'm seeing now, I don't think we're going to need it this year, but I've been wrong before. So we certainly can't get it before July 1st, and we seem to be in good shape. Taking a look at the budget versus last year, you can see we're already at more than 100% of our budget for revenues. We've talked about this before. That's the increase in interest. That's all the variance there is from that. So I don't know what we're going to end up at, but it'll probably be, by the end of the year, probably 103, 104% of budget. But you pay for it and vote. You pay for it and you get the benefit of it at the same time. It ends up being a wash. Versus the expenditures versus last year, you can see we're doing slightly better. I don't want to read too much into it. That might be timing, but at least it's not bad news. I think that we're on track to. There's nothing.
Yeah,
any surprises coming?
No, actually, I reviewed it today, and I think this is one of the better positions we've been in. And amazingly, we still have money in the equipment repair thing for the garage. We finally crested that, so it's and the prices are still going up, but we've made enough adjustments that we actually have money in mid-March, which is pretty good. So
Right.
yeah, I think we're on track to cruise through the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I always compare it to the previous year, and last year was not necessarily a typical year because inflation was so high, but if I needed to, I could go back and see where we usually are at the end of February, but I think Dave's right. The bottom line is that we look like we're in a good cash position at least, and also budget position for the balance of the fiscal year. If we want to take a quick look at the reserve funds, I think there's a lot of stuff going on in February. Oh, no, that's something I look forward to in March. A lot of stuff moving around. That Lister's reappraisal you see in the 290 line there, that is we get that every year. That's the per parcel payment from the state to subsidize our fund for reappraisal when that's necessary for a town-wide reappraisal. So that comes every year. It's a fixed amount per parcel in our grand list. The other thing is just a water payment. So February was actually pretty boring, but we make up for it in March. Any questions about any of that? Okay, I can't think of anything else that's going on. We're still struggling with the town credit card issues, but how long have I been saying that? A couple of months now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the problem comes down to that the bank just has two arms, and one of them is for commercial and one of them is for government, and they don't talk to each other, and they don't seem to understand the difference. And so the town credit card, they're wanting individuals' social security numbers, they're wanting their date of birth and all of this stuff that's not relevant. It's the position you hold with the town. It's not. So we think we may have a workaround, but everything is taking so long. It's really unbelievable.
The missing bill came this afternoon.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, fine, yeah. We were just discussing where this bill was, so it finally came in the mail from
How was it
weeks.
addressed? It was addressed to my name?
Yeah.
Town of Shaftsbury?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We're working on it.
Yeah, which is why, Brad, you don't have a name tag. because-
Anyway, that's it. Any questions?
No.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. So, board and committee appointments. Shall I just read these out?
Yeah, I think so.
And we can vote on them as a whole, or should we vote on them one by one?
It could probably be done as a group.
Yeah.
So for the Town Green Committee, Marie Watson. For the Energy Committee, which is just being formed, Dave Beach and Andrea Baki. I think Andrea is here tonight.
Yes.
Thank you, Andrea. For the Sewer Feasibility Study Committee, Eamon Mulligan, Dave Mance, Lily West, Gail Tiffany, and Art Whitman. Thank you very much, Art. And for the Planning Commission, Zoe Contros-Curl. So can I have a motion to appoint these folks?
So moved.
Second? Second by Brad. Moved by Tony. Any discussion?
Is Zoe still on the DRB too, or?
Yes.
Good, just to make sure.
And Shelley looked into it, and apparently there's no difficulty in people being on both.
Cool.
She's got a lot to bring to the table, I guess.
Yeah.
So, any other
While
thoughts,
we're
questions,
in
comments?
discussion, maybe we can bring up, because there are several other committees that are looking for members, including the Coal Hall Committee and the Town Green Committee, and I'm thinking that we may want to fold them, the Town Green and Coal Hall potentially,
Yeah,
just
I think,
remove one of them.
Yeah, I think a lot of this has to be brought into one committee, as we're going to have to change pace a little bit because of the estimates for Coal Hall, and look at it as a whole plan. We're dealing with the planning as one project, so it's time to make the committee one project with maybe subcommittees if needed, without taking in anything that goes on here, the town green, the community center, the purchase behind the building, and any possible housing or the utilization of that property, and look at it as one project.
And also potentially the community sewer would go.
Well, the community septic, which will be starting very shortly, also intertwines into that too, and that would definitely be an active committee, because the grant money requires a committee like that to be a functioning part of the process. So, but that also dovetails into this, but that would remain a standing committee, most definitely, with the 5 active members, or 6, 5 or 6, whatever it is.
So are we thinking that it would be a committee separate from the Economic Development Committee, but a committee that we would name, and then there would be subcommittees of the town greens and other kind of pieces, or?
I think it
what do
needs
we-
to just be one committee overseeing the development of this combined parcel
Okay,
from Cole Hall, all the projects in one, so that we have better coordination. Because there's going to be multi-steps here, including fundraising and everything, but it will
Yeah.
also
So I was-
require at times subcommittees, because we'll probably have to have a subcommittee just to look into and arrange fundraising, because one significant grant requires crowdsourcing, which is something that I know some of the people on some of these committees we have around here have already done, so it would be nice. I think we form the first committee, and then that group decides some subcommittees off of it. The EDC would still stand separate because there's I also spoke with them today too. There's from BCRC to get it going. So I'll talk about that with the EDC, because they have a much broader mandate
scope, yeah.
than this. But like I said, I think it'll be easier to have the one primary committee to see the entire project, so it can address issues with the EDC, and it's coming into one central source that just makes communication easier.
Right.
So we don't have this committee thinks this and this committee thinks that.
Right.
We just have one that's looking at it, because it is getting,
I was just kind of think, because as we
Yeah.
kind of are gathering people and we now are appointing somebody to the Town Green Committee, where is that going? And we have people on Cole Hall Committee already, and we have people that had been kind of in some of the other committees, and so.
I think, especially in Marie's case, who we're appointing tonight, because it has a large impact on
Right,
her.
personal
She's our neighbor.
property.
That her viewpoint into the development is critical, because she represents the neighborhood. And we can work on the rest of the committee,
Yeah.
because we did meet today at Goldstone just to bring me back up to speed on where we are, and with some of the developments that went on, it's clear we have to readjust, not from lack of funding, but what is the primary goal again. So, because unfortunately, as you all know, our proposed elevator, the main part of the renovation here, is pretty much cost prohibitive, as it's getting close to, well, it's over $750,000 for a one-story elevator. And that just is, I don't believe, the best use of our meager $1 million in funds.
So then, in a sense, we're going to rename this Town Green Committee, the Town Green and Cole Hall Committee.
Yeah.
Slash the Cole Hall
Yeah.
Environs Committee.
Yeah,
It should
we'll
be,
come up with
or
something new. The Town Green Committee will disappear, and certain members like Marie will definitely be part of the
Kind
new
of that
committee.
large.
Yeah. And then, like I said, as we develop, because this is going to be a longer process, as always was going to be a long process, look into different grants, and like I said, crowdsourcing is a great subcommittee, because you find people who are enthusiastic and have familiarity with fundraising, and they start putting things together, because I think we could raise a substantial amount of money for these projects by using some of the people in town who know how to do this properly, you know.
So we'll be looking for more members, it sounds like,
Yeah.
of the, what will become
Yeah.
some other name of Town Green Committee.
Yeah.
There's certainly a position, I know, on the Economic Development Committee as well. So there
Sure,
are other
maybe.
committees,
Yep.
that are out there for anybody who
We
might
can move
be
people around.
interested. And to, if they are interested, to send a letter of interest
Yep.
and kind of qualifications of why you would be good for that committee, and
to
a
whom?
resume to David at the administrator email.
Yep, and
Would be good.
we'll take it from there and do a little reorganization and keep it going. We'll have to have a meeting and then start process. We've made a lot of advances, I think. You know, part of the initial proposals and diagrams and architectural work has brought us to the point where in most of the all projects went like this. You get the first round and you see things need to be adjusted and changed. So that's what we're going to move forward on.
And once we vote these folks in, who's going to be letting these folks know that they're now on this committee, on these committees? Are we going to?
I'll send it around to everybody.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Art,
All right.
you notified?
Do you consider yourself notified? Thank you. Okay, are we ready to vote on this?
I think so.
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 500, passes. Okay, we are now moving on to the liaison assignments conversation.
Which is very.
Would you like to
Which is
share
you
very
one?
tiny. I don't know why mine's printed so tiny.
Tony, you want mine?
That's all right.
I have an old
I don't really, it's on 3 different pages, of course, but.
Right.
Okay, so I distributed this just sort of list of possible distribution of these things based on what I understand to be people's interests and the things that I understand to go together. But I thought we should just talk about it. Is there anything on people's lists that they don't want there, or something that you really do want to take up, or is there a different way of sort of understanding how to allocate these? I'm really just throwing this out for broad conversation.
Yes, guys, were you doing the sewer feasibility study committee at one point?
Was I doing that at one point?
Yeah.
You were going to be
Yes.
on the...
I thought
That's
you were
right.
chair.
So where is
you were
the
chair.
sewer on that? I don't see the.
I didn't know that it got there.
Oh,
Where is it?
This
Is that an
copy.
old? Oh,
This
it
might
might
be
have
an
been
older
an old
copy.
one.
Yeah, maybe this is
It
a-
likely is the old one, because there isn't any sewer feasibility under you at this moment.
Maybe you gotta
right?
flip that page over, Tony. Maybe I gave you the wrong one. So
But
ignore
it
that, that's
should
with
be
no help to you.
someplace, right?
okay.
Well, I guess it,
Somebody should,
On the sewer feasibility, someone from the select board has to be on
Yeah.
that committee.
Right.
right.
so right now, Brad has the solid waste implementation plan, so I wonder if that, and if that makes sense, or, but then Mike also has one spot that's open at this moment, but.
And I was wondering whether Mike shouldn't have the BCRC, since he has the Planning Commission and the zoning administrator, if he's keeping those things on the DRB.
I'm sure I could stay with whatever you had.
So currently, I am the voting member of the BCRC, so that would just have to transfer, and there are meetings that you have to vote, and you're with Cinda Morse as well, there are always 2 voting members of
I
the
thought she was
BCRC.
going to stop.
She stepped down, I think, out of the executive board of the BCRC, but I
I see.
believe that she still is the second voting member of the town of Shaftsbury, for the town of Shaftsbury.
Okay.
So
is that-
that is something that is fine. We just would have to formalize that it's something that has to be formally recognized
Sure.
by
I mean, if you're
Bill
happy
Colvin.
with it, I don't...
But it also
But it
overlaps with economic development.
so it really-
could go
it could-
either way.
for things like that, so it might be.
You want to keep it?
I think that it makes more sense at this moment to keep it with economic development, and maybe for Mike to maybe do the sewer instead, but
I think
although
that
it
you were on
doesn't
the
really.
sewer.
I'm happy to not be on the sewer, in the sewer.
I mean, weren't you chairing that committee though right now?
The committee hasn't
Hasn't formed.
I've been forming it, but I wasn't,
Or gathering members,
Yeah.
that's more.
You're very interested in it too. You have
I
been
mean,
for a long time.
but you had an interest in it. I mean, we had a
It's
conversation.
okay, I know, we had a conversation, it's fine.
All right, I can take it if you're not.
Great.
If it's any consolation, this is a really strong committee.
Yes,
Everybody on here
Yeah,
has some real experience.
has some real experience. So it's real good. This will be a good meeting, which we'll be setting up shortly to start.
One of the things I was wondering about in just looking at this, Naomi, was under your list, you had the DPW, and I'm wondering if that makes much more sense to have with David or Paula going forward, just because I feel like they have regular kind of communication, and you often are giving the DPW report that maybe it doesn't necessarily need a liaison, but more just the
liaison
representation.
is good for most of the committees, I agree. For the DPW, because the DPW is more a dynamic thing, where things happen every day, and there's communications, whether it's injured employee, a truck that somebody needs to deal with immediately, things like that. And it's a better line of communication. And because there's so much money involved, I think it's best that it goes through the TA's office and then just reports to the board, because it is just more dynamic than the other departments that kind of just move along. And we don't have a road commissioner here, so, because the road commissioner is a statutory office, we just have a liaison. So I think it works out better, and it just creates one line of communication, instead of, which always confuses things. So it would just be Mike deals with Paula, and they, work out their relationship, which will be fine, and how things are reported, and Paula will report to the select board.
And I also
Is everybody good with that?
Yeah.
wonder
Makes sense.
if we should add on liaison for this new large committee of coal hall environs, if that should be on there, because we don't necessarily have anything like that yet, just thinking about things, or if we
No,
don't really
I
need
think
a
the
select
committee
board.
itself
have
reports directly
somebody
to the
on.
select board, and I would be surprised if there isn't a select board member in the committee.
Well, I was wondering if that
The
would
select
be
board
the
member
case.
should be part of that
Yes.
committee, because it's a
But if
substantial
there
amount of
was a-
money.
We should,
But if
so
it
we
was a
should,
liaison, that's a liaison then, so I was wondering if it should be noted here.
well, yeah, and you're thinking it's separate from economic development.
I think it needs to be, because economic development has a much broader scope
And you're
than
right
what this is
about
going to
that
be.
with the
Yeah.
work that the municipal planning grant is going
Yeah.
to do with the BCRC.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay, well,
So I don't know where.
I mean, I
just
seem
am
to be the
throwing-
person who's down one now.
Why don't you call it the Community Center Development Committee?
Ooh, that's
Community
that's-
Center Development.
yeah,
Committee. Is
right.
anybody
Ah.
very interested in being on that committee?
I'm on the committee.
You're on the committee.
Yeah.
Well, then why don't we just put it under?
Yeah. Okay. Put me on.
Yeah, and then we'll develop the rest of the committee, looking at all the other committees around
Yeah.
that. So that we don't have to keep saying all the other
What did you
committees.
say it
We're
was?
just gonna- The Community Center Development Committee.
development.
Good.
I also had a question, just because it hasn't kind of been the function, at least in the past, of these liaisonships, and if it might make sense for the liaisonships that we have under our thing to have some kind of report back maybe once a quarter or something, because there are a lot of committees on here that, maybe some of them are meeting, some of them are not. Like, I know the Veterans Committee kind of stands up for Memorial Day Parade when we have it, but there are others that are kind of regularly meeting, just so that the Select Board has a sense of what is happening on the Planning Commission, the DRB, for me, the BCRC, and if that's something that maybe we should kind of make as a process or policy.
Piece of our process.
Yeah, I guess, going forward, to just, check in with those folks and say,
Yeah, there's never been any.
because
set
we
rules
don't,
for
because,
liaison.
Loop.
it has been that many of us
Yeah.
have been members of many other boards, so we kind of brought it back, but that is definitely changing as this board has kind of changed as well. So I think it would be helpful if we can all, check in with whoever is in charge of whatever that board or committee is, and just get some feedback once a quarter or so.
Thoughts about that?
Sure, but would we distribute it? We wouldn't want to do like all the reports at one meeting, I guess, so we'd have to kind of scatter it.
And maybe it's
Definitely
just that we could send an email, and then we wouldn't need to reply to it, but it would be part of kind of the packet that that goes out to us every week when we have it. And then if we had things that we were like, oh, I want to bring this up, we could bring it up in other business, but then at least we would
If
have
we
a sense.
had questions of the person
Yeah.
who had distributed the report,
Right,
we
to
would
do
put
it
it
at,
under
yeah,
other business?
Yeah, yeah, you should send the reports if something comes up to the town administrator.
Right.
And have the
And then it
administrator
could go-
distribute it as part of the packet.
Yeah.
So there isn't inter-party communication.
Right, and open meeting law would
Yeah.
all be copacetic with.
Okay, and I guess we would want to just report, even when there was nothing to report, we would want to say, there's nothing to report, nothing going
Yeah.
on with the sewers yet.
Well, there will be.
I have one more thing. I'm sorry to monopolize. I just have been thinking about this because you sent out questions. Is just for, in the interest of safety, we have quite a lot of our public information on there, both our address, our emails, and our phone numbers. If it might be worth, just in this landscape of sometimes incivility and other things happening, that we may want to take off our addresses from this, just because this does get, well, I don't know, does it get distributed to
No.
these folks, or where
I've-
does this?
I've never-
I think
It
it's
goes
on the
website.
So.
The whole thing is on the
I
website?
think
believe
so.
so.
Yeah.
And so I just
Well,
was,
then I would agree to just redact everything. All it really needs is your town email and your name and what position you have.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't need our phone
It
numbers
doesn't need,
either.
it doesn't
Right.
need any of that.
Yeah.
no.
And so, and.
So when you do the final one, I'll work it up. We'll do some redaction.
Okay.
Leave everything on there for the in-house copy.
Right.
Because it is a good way for someone just to look quickly and see
Yeah.
your phone numbers or something if something comes up. But, and I'll do a redacted one and have Jen post that one.
Okay, great.
Yeah, okay.
And then I think for Brad, because he doesn't know about this, if you want to have a email that is
yeah.
a town email versus your
Yeah.
own personal email,
I got-
or
I
an
actually
email.
got a town
Oh,
email.
perfect.
Yeah, he's all
Okay.
set already.
So you
And
are,
what is it?
brad.peacock@shaftsburyvt.gov.
Yep, all set, good.
Brad
excellent.
Peacock. Great.
Yes.
And Jen got that, and she will put that on the website.
Yep. Oh, good.
These two of the pages.
Are
I
there
don't know if these are correct.
any other thoughts about the liaison assignments? I mean, really, this was just a suggestion.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right?
No, yeah, I mean, it was just a suggestion, right?
It's good with me, yep, good suggestion.
Yep. We're set. Okay, so we are giving Mike the sewer feasibility study committee.
Okay.
And we are giving Tony the community center development committee.
CCDC.
CCDC, and we are
Sounds
taking
better.
the DPW off of this list altogether.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
redacting, for the public copy, all of the contact info.
All of the contact info except the
the email address.
addresses.
Yes.
All right.
Send me a clean copy and we'll take care of it with the latest changes.
So, do we need to vote on that set of assignments, or are we just, does that
It doesn't have to be voted on,
Does
but
the-
you can vote on it if you'd like.
do people vote on it every year, or just do it?
Yeah, I don't think we ever voted on it.
Great.
Just did it.
Okay. The DPW report, we're going to sign 3 forms.
Yes, we have 3 forms in front of you. These are all part of the annual reporting to the state. It's what gets us the state highway grant money. It's just attesting to adhering to the state road and bridge standards. Our budget is there and how it's divided between winter and spring. Those numbers are directly out of our budget, so it's a straightforward document. The other one agrees that we will build the roads to the standards as Mike put in the blanks there, which are the state standards, and we've been doing that for all 10 years I've been here and probably long before that. So, like I said, these are just standard forms we do every year.
And the annual financial plan of the town
Yeah,
highway.
you should vote to sign these, by the way.
Oh,
Just-
right. Whoops.
Yeah, but
We
read,
just
sorry.
are signing
You ready?
I have a motion.
I was so excited it was moving ahead, but, you should really read each title in and vote to sign.
I move we accept the reports to the state.
And you can read the,
I did read them. I had the
Second.
benefit of. Okay, moved by Tony, seconded by Brad.
This one is the town road and bridges standards that I'm signing right now, for the record.
So it's the certificate of compliance for town road and bridge standards and network inventory, and it's the,
annual financial plan, town highways for the fiscal year 25.
and you want to say that once more?
Town road and bridge standards, municipality of Shaftsbury, Vermont.
Okay. So is there any discussion of these?
No.
No questions about these?
Nope.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Passed 500. Good.
Right, while the signature is going on, I'll give the brief report. It's that
Thank
time of year. Doing hazard tree cutting, ditch cleaning, and some stone lining on the upper end of Buplon Hollow Road. That's hard to say. Doing brush cutting around the west side of town with the roadside mower. There's spot grading, so the potholes around town to get us through. You can't do a lot now because we're still not quite out of mud season. I don't know if we're even in it yet. I don't know if we're going to have one. It's been such a weird winter. And of course, servicing to get the equipment ready for summer, for spring, because everything changes. You start getting trucks back in shape after winter. And we're cleaning up Howard Park, the down tree limbs, blowing the leaves off the tennis courts, just get everything kind of set. We'll have the water on, and unbelievably, only another month and a half, we'll have the water back on the park, and we'll be set to go again. It's hard to believe. It doesn't seem like it, but it's right around the
Spring
corner.
is around the corner.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's spring.
Yeah, tomorrow's the first day of spring. It should be 30 degrees out.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion, questions?
So David, I just have a question about, I know that a lot of people, when I spoke to them, had some concerns about the ditching and seeding of grass and making sure that we're complying with state guidelines. And so I just,
Well, part of people's perception of that is, unfortunately, the ditches have been allowed to fill over the years, and we're much more aggressive with Mike and the crew, bringing them up to the state standards that we just signed, that they would be that. And they are deeper, especially when they start, but you'll notice, like up around in your neighborhood, that they start to fill in and the grass grows pretty quickly. In some places, it is quite alarming looking when they do it, because it just has filled in so much. You'll see them come around much more frequently in several years, come back, because they'll fill up again pretty quickly. But I think it's kind of a matter of adjusting to them again, but they're an integral part of the road to keep the water coming off the sides and not building up underneath, because if it doesn't have a way to exit the road surface and the sides, then, that's why we had so many horribly muddy roads in town. It's the whole road is a system of the ditches, the crown, the materials, and cutting back trees, and they've been very aggressive since we've changed ways, and I think everybody sees that on the road. And Mike and I have talked about the ditches, because I've gotten calls too, and I've gone up and you kind of look and go, it looks pretty deep, and
Some of them are pretty deep,
yeah,
pretty wide.
yeah. Well, there's angles to them. They have to be a certain, shape, certain depth. And of course, because no one's out there with a transit, some scoops may get a little longer than other scoops, but they try to sit right to the standard. They don't want to be shallow, because the idea of like scraping it so people don't perceive it as big ditch, but that's not really solving any problems. It's just putting off a bigger problem. But I guess the best justification I can give it for you is just the changes in the road surface you notice around town during mud season and the rest of the year. The roads just hold up better, they're stronger, and they just drain way better.
I think one of the things that we had mentioned, and it might have been right before you left or right after you left for vacation, was that we put out the road standards on the website. And
Yep.
one of the things that I think that we had agreed as a board was to have a public kind of meeting or comment session within the select board meeting for people to come and talk about it. And I think that we had said that we would do that in March, or April, to kind of have that back. So maybe that's something that we can put on an agenda, and then we can announce it, that will be a section of our
And that would be the time to
and have Mike and Nadia in, so he can explain things.
Yeah.
And, certainly the materials have been on the website, I know that.
And we could remind people to read those materials, which are
Right.
lengthy and boring, but really of import.
Instructive.
So, yeah, they're instructive,
Yeah,
edifying.
you get this sense of why the work's being done. And, I think it's a good idea to have Mike in here and have a forum for people who have questions. Like I said, the biggest part is a big part of it is just the perception. You haven't seen proper ditching, and now when you see it, it looks pretty deep. And not to say that all of it's, like I said, there's no transit being used here, so not all of it's exact to the depth. One scoop might have gotten a little carried away, but it's not the intent to make these huge ditches. But even like on Grandview, when that hadn't been ditched in years, and we ditched it, and it caused quite a stir up there, but it all grew in, and now it looks fairly normal, and it drains better.
And also we had, for decades really, people were furious about the roads in Shaftsbury. And being on the select board, I wasn't on at that time, but very angry people about the condition of the roads were very common, and we don't see that at all anymore.
No.
Except now that there's concerns about the ditching. So we traded one problem for another, but
And the speeding.
going backwards.
And the speeding, But when I started 11 years ago in zoning and turned up Daniel Road over here in my Suburban, and it sunk to the hubs. I was like, really? This is... And you don't see that anymore, which is nice. Because I had a Suburban and wasn't happy. I wouldn't go there. I'm trying to turn that with something else. But it's kind of a trade-off. It's you fix them up, and people want us to put the potholes back. There's too many people speeding.
Well, maybe we should talk
that
about
as a future.
a date for setting that. It's not a hearing exactly, but it's a discussion.
Just a comment session.
A comment session and a discussion.
Maybe towards the end of April or May, when people were out and thinking about it, when it's not winter or winter-like,
Like maybe the first May meeting?
Yeah, first May meeting.
That
Why don't
would
we
be
make the
May 6th.
second May meeting? Because the first May meeting will be Paula's first meeting.
May 20th?
Let it settle in a little bit.
May 20th would be the date.
Well, you want to do it on the 6th?
I mean,
can
it's
do it on the
almost
6th.
summer by the 20th.
Yeah.
Okay, the 6th.
Okay.
She'll cope.
She'll meet new
Trial
people.
by fire.
More folks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else on DPW? Good. So we are now on to other business. First of all, we wanted to talk about changing the meeting time, and David, you talked to Cat TV.
Cat TV is all set to go for the first meeting in April.
Thank you.
The board has to vote to change the time.
So we're gonna,
We're making a motion.
somebody has to make a motion to switch the time to 6.
So I make a motion to, starting on our first meeting, which would be April 1st, April Fool's Day, which will not be a joke. This is not a joke.
We'll all be here at this time.
To change our town select board meetings from 6:30 to 6 p.m. for the first and third Mondays.
I'll second.
Second by Mike. Discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
As long as we're doing this, every year we have to move meetings from Mondays because they're falling on holidays.
Right.
Do we want to move the meeting date to Tuesday?
Wow.
That's a lot to think
That's
about all at once.
revolutionary.
Well,
Right, well-
and does the Cat TV, can
No, we'd have to
TV
go
do
back to
that?
them. So let's bring
So
that up next year. Okay.
Maybe
so
we'll just move it to 6 to
6 and
begin
see how
with.
that goes, and then we'll come back with the other one.
Don't screw it up too much.
Sorry, yeah, too much change. Sorry, got carried away.
So much Apple, yeah, the Apple
Yeah.
part is getting upset here.
All right. Any more discussion on that? All right. All those in favor of this change?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed 5-0-0. We're going to get home before dark in the middle of the summer.
My goodness.
And maybe a talk or dinner time.
Maybe. Okay. And you had some others.
I
right?
did have some
And-
other, but you had some as well, so I don't know.
Well, I
if you
have that
wanna-
I would like us to sign, formally and publicly sign the employment agreement with Paula Eichen as town administrator.
Was going to be, yes, our new town
Our new town
administrator.
administrator beginning May 1st.
That sounds lovely.
Shall we do that here and now?
Yes, do we need a motion to?
Yes, you do.
We do.
Because you're signing a contract.
So I make a motion that we sign this
Agreement for employment.
employment for Paula Eichen, our new town administrator, who today, which is March 18th, 2024, for her to begin on May 1st of 2024.
I'll second that.
Mike seconds. Any discussion?
Very exciting.
It's very
For a
exciting.
new chapter, I think.
Yep. There's a signature page here somewhere. Nope.
That's the appendix. It might be on the actual end of the contract.
Yes, you're right. So you are right. Okay. So the contract that we got from the Vermont League of Cities and Towns only has the select board chair.
That's common.
Okay. Good. On behalf of us all,
Right.
Yeah,
I am signing
yes.
this contract.
It's right in Robert's rules, so. It's part of the chair's role is to sign agreements approved by the board.
Yeah, but there are some things that everybody signs. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. It's kind of, it's like all the state things you just sign. Everybody signs them. And it's kind of,
And now that I've signed it, can we have a vote?
Yes.
yes, you actually,
We like to oversign.
we are out of sequence tonight.
I'm very sorry. It is
The
hot.
motion was made and seconded,
Yes,
so let's take that vote.
So you moved.
I do.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I moved and then Mike
seconded.
seconded.
That's right.
Yes.
So all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? At this late date?
Yeah. Maybe that's why they want all the signatures.
So we have time to think about it.
Okay, so it passes 5-0-0. Congratulations to Paula Eichen and to the town of Shaftsbury. And
I
now,
have some other business as well. One of our action items from the last meeting was to sign thank you notes to both Cinda Morse and Karen Mellinger for their work with hosting and creating and doing all of the things that they did for our lovely town meeting potluck. And so I have taken it up to write a thank you, which I'm hoping that everybody can sign on both of these for Cinda and Karen somewhere, because I write large. I don't know, do we have to make a motion to
No.
sign? It's a thank you? Okay. Seeing that we're in a signing mode here. And then I will mail these off. They did a lovely job, and we're very grateful for them. I did down here, but yeah, you can sign wherever, because it's going to be lovely.
Thank you, Martha.
Yes.
Thank you for
Thank you
doing
for
that.
doing that.
And while we're signing this, I think that we had also had on our action item list last time a letter of thanks to Dave, I'm sorry, to Art.
To Art,
Yes,
yeah.
and I was
With the
thinking,
And I haven't found the one we did for, was it Dr. King?
I wrote that one, so I can certainly
Oh, can you
send
forward that to me then?
Okay.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
because, yeah, I was looking, I can't find that one. Good, okay, send that and we'll take care of that.
That one was right.
Yeah. Resolution to David. I'm trying to think. Some other things that occurred while we were, while David was away that I just didn't want us to kind of lose track of again, was that there was a conversation amongst us about potentially having petty cash again.
Oh, right,
And
right.
so that was something that we were waiting until you came back,
That's right.
David. And I can't recall exactly the particulars, but I had it on a to-do list that said to kind of bring it back. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering if that's something that maybe you can
When we get a new
talk about.
bookkeeper, we can move to that.
Yeah.
It's for
Because
very
that was-
minor things.
Right, and it was something minor, but she had to write a check. I think it was Melanie, and
was
then she
Melanie,
had
yeah.
to then get.
Who wrote a check?
it's like- I think it was Melanie for something
She had to
very
write a
incidental.
check to
and-
reimburse herself for something that she left,
of
that
course.
she laid out for.
And I think Marlene also did a mailing for like $1,000.
Yeah, well, you can't, that's different.
Yeah.
Petty cash is for things under $200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened to petty cash is we always had it, we never really used it. And during the pandemic, when no one was coming in at all, we just like zeroed it out, and that kind of was the end of it. Because with other purchasing options now, from the credit card to most everything we get, petty cash rarely ever comes up. I mean, we haven't used petty cash since 2020. But it's a standard thing to have $100
It
laying
was
around.
just
Yeah.
something.
It may have been like $100.
And I
yeah.
want to say it was like postage for something
was
like.
minor.
It
Yeah.
was very minor, and
Yeah.
it was kind of, she was like embarrassed to almost write, this check warrant that we
No, she
signed for
wouldn't, because
something that.
I've done that a lot of times. I have
Yeah.
to roll it over and get a roll of stamps, and
But
I
yeah,
give them $20 and come back and
she
put it in the
would
warrant.
probably be able to tell you, but it
Yeah.
was just something that I
Yeah, we'll
wanted
just
to bring
put it back. When the new bookkeeper's hired,
Yeah.
we'll put it back so they can
Maybe.
get it in the system and.
To have it on our,
Yeah, okay.
the to-do list. And also to bring back again, that we had also talked about in the springtime, to also bring back a public meeting to talk about the Grandview sidewalk study, and I don't think that
Yep.
we've put that on the books yet.
Nope, because
committee.
our original plan was to have that scheduled sometime in April. Because we knew, I wasn't going to be here for January and February, and for town meeting, he wanted to be organized, and I was just talking with this, reviewing that actually the day I got back. So we do want to set something up for late April. This will be a special meeting, and because we will have to have the engineer here, a representative from the state, and I'll notify all the people, the community groups that are interested, and Chrissy from Dufresne will make a presentation. We'll have it on the webpage beforehand because the bond report's like pretty large. And so it'll be late April or May. It's all scheduling with the state and everything. That's on my coming up from the bottom of the stack.
Okay.
Found when came
I
back,
just
so.
wanted so that we didn't.
Yeah, no, it's not
Thank you.
lost. Yeah.
And then I also wanted to, if it's something that we can discuss in the thing, is that Art had talked about representing us at, in Montpelier when that legislation that David brought up came up. And I'm wondering if we can maybe formally appoint him to represent the board, if that's possible,
Yeah.
in the Montpelier
Actually, it would be better
process,
if
because
the
he
board
was
made a
so
motion
integral.
for him
Yeah.
to
For
represent the
that.
town. And that is
So-
fleshed out a little bit more. That's to do with the water issues with North Bank and then the hearing at the state.
Yes, and Art has all the history on that, and
Make
is ready and willing to represent us in Montpelier. So, can I have a motion?
I'll move that Art represent the board in the water hearing. Is that right?
In Montpelier
In Montpelier.
Yeah.
with Dave.
You represent the select board, because your meeting is the select board, not the water board.
Okay, select board.
To represent the community for the water board in hearings in Montpelier. Yeah.
Okay, second?
I can second that.
Mike seconds it. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried, 500. Okay, and a thanks to Art for doing that.
Yes, very much so. I've taken notes of what the action items are from.
That's a beautiful thing. So look what Martha
Look
has
at
done.
that. Look at this.
We can all look, and we can see our action items.
Okay.
For all the things.
It would be good if it were larger, and then we
Well,
could see across the
This
table.
is what I had at my house in the moment, so.
Would you like to read them out?
So action items, but also for Shelley, who's taking notes.
Yeah.
So our action items for this evening are that David's going to change the warrant document so it says select board and not select men. Naomi's going to bring the wide angle camera for next time.
Thank you.
Naomi and Brad are going to have the two-person meeting with Art and Ollie Wadsworth to talk about the Cold Spring Road culvert on a Tuesday or a Thursday, and they'll meet to try to figure that out. We've already determined our new name for the Town Green Committee is
Community.
the CCDC, Community Center Development Committee, and that we'll be looking for members of that committee as we go forward. David is going to email all of the new committee members that we appointed tonight to the Town Green Energy Committee, Feasibility Study Committee, and the Planning Commission. David is going to make changes to the liaison board document after Naomi sends him a clean copy. And the public copy that will go on the website will have redacted contact information, except for the email line. I am going to be sending David the resolution that we did for Dr. King in hopes that he can draft something for a resolution thank you to Art Whitman, our former chair of our board. And then for future agenda items, we'll have a town road comment session on May 6th and a special meeting to be announced in April or May for the Grandview Sidewalk Study.
Wow.
Wow, we were missing.
We
That
did
was
a lot
of action
tonight.
items. All right.
A couple of.
thank you.
Committee, right?
Anybody have any other items before we adjourn? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Tony, seconded by Brad. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.